In this video, we are going over how to finish better in football. I'm going to give you some different ways you can finish, or different finishes you should work on, how to work on them, different things that are going to help you to score more in your matches, and much more. So stay tuned for that. When I'm busy doing totally legitimate things, I rely on OneFootball to give me all the news stories, fixtures, results, and more from the world of football. Download it for free today. A good finisher in football is able to finish in multiple different ways in different situations. We want to get you to the point where your finishing has become second nature, where you've practiced so much that it's become a part of your muscle memory, where you don't really need to think when you get a goal-scoring chance. You're just able to automatically pick the right finish more times than not and then slot it into the goal. Now, just because I said there are multiple different types of finishes, this doesn't mean you need to overcomplicate the process. In fact, it's usually the more simple finishes that are going to get you the most goals, and that's what we're going to focus on today. I find a lot of players miss most of their chances, not because they don't know these techniques, but because they decide to overcomplicate the process. They try to blast it, they lose their head, they don't keep their composure, or they try and do something that they don't need to do in the situation. They have the technique to do the proper finish, they just don't choose the proper finish. So let's go over some of the more simple finishes that you need to work on and that you should keep in mind that are going to be the main ones you use in matches. And I really recommend you stick with these in your matches and you really work on these finishes until you are an expert at each one. Because again, these are the ones you're going to use 95 to 96% of the time in your matches. Yes, you can get into taking it around the keeper, to dinking it over the keeper or more, but really when it comes down to it, it's going to be one of these. So getting really good at these techniques is paramount if you want to get better at finishing. First technique we're going over is the simple curled or rolled finish to the far post. Now, of course, this one is really good because the further you can put it in the corner, the more likely it is it's going to go in, and the closer you are to goal, this is usually the one you want to go for. You don't need to blast it when you are close to goal. In fact, in most finishes, you don't want to blast it at all, something you'll hear me repeat throughout this whole video. When you go to finish a ball, you should never just put your head down and try and hit it as hard as you can blindly. You can get good at hitting the ball relatively hard with power towards a side as you get better at this. But honestly, a rolled or curled finish into the corner can be just as good, and in fact is usually more effective and gives you more of a chance of scoring. If you are really close to goal, I really recommend that you choose either going to the near post or rolling it towards the far post. I've scored multiple goals, many goals actually, countless goals, by just doing this when I find myself in the 18-yard box. So this is a technique you need to get really good at. This is a technique you need to practice over and over again, because although it may look very simple, it is very easy to mess this up. If you don't put the ball into the corners exactly so that you're hitting the panel, you give the goalie more of a chance of saving it. And if you, again, don't work on this, you might miss wide of the goal or hit the post more times than you want to. One thing I also want to point out, and you'll hear me say this quite a bit as well, is make sure you're working on your weak foot for this technique as well, especially with a simple finish close to goal to the far or near post. If you want to be a good goal scorer and you want to improve your finishing, you can't get over the fact that you need to be able to finish with your weaker foot. I scored many more goals in my life when I started actually working on my left, which is my weaker foot, and making sure I could finish on that side. I'm not saying it needs to be as good as your dominant foot, although that would be ideal. I am saying though, if you find yourself in a match on your left side or your weak side, whatever it is for you, and you don't have time to get onto your dominant side and you need to finish quickly, you need to at least be competent with that side so that you can finish the goal, to finish the chance. You know, you don't want to find yourself in that situation with a completely useless weak foot where you can't finish the opportunity, because in many chances in matches, you're only going to have a split second to finish off the chance. Okay, next type of finish I want you to work on is, again, curling it towards that back post, but this time we're going to be doing it a little further out. So we already saw me finishing a little closer to goal, and this is one I really want you to work on, the closer to goal one when you're a striker, because a lot of your chances, if you make good runs and you have good positional sense, are going to come with you running into the box or getting the ball behind the defense for a first-time finish. And that's why I want you to be really good at hitting it to the near and far post from close range, from like 16 yards or closer, penalty spot or closer. But now I want you to also work on 18 yards or further away. You know, we don't have to blast the ball even if you're outside the 18-yard box. If you can learn to curl the ball towards the back post with accuracy and get good whip and curl on it, you're going to score a lot of goals this way as well. I think a lot of players think that if they're beyond the 18-yard box or a little further away from goal, that they have to put their laces through it and just hope for the best. It's not the case at all. You can work on getting really good at curling the ball towards the back post. Now, I do have a video on this, how to curl a football to the back post or how to curl it from distance. I'm going to link that down below and have a card come across so that you can watch that if you want to learn more about this technique. But again, for all of you goal scorers, you need to know how to do this. You know, again, I really consider, if you're 18 yards out from goal, I consider that to be a goal scoring opportunity if you have some space to work with and a window in which to shoot. And you know, you need to start getting into that mindset as well. You know, I consider it a disappointment or a mistake if I shoot from 18 yards out and I miss completely or don't take a good shot. So this is something you really want to get good at. Just again, it's going to take repetition after repetition to get good at this, but it's well worth it. Okay, so now I want to talk about near post finishes, and this is another one I did a video on already, and I will link in the description and have a card come across if you want to learn this technique a little more specifically. But this is the one I say that Harry Kane uses all the time, and what he'll do is from about 18 yards or maybe a little further out, he will turn it on to his right foot to the side, and he'll make it look like he's going to go far post, but then whip it back towards the near post. Now the great thing with this technique is you can do it in very limited space, and you don't need to blast it. Now you can see with some of the shots I hit that it looks like I'm blasting it, but I can assure you I'm not really swinging that hard, and I'm not even using close to my full power. I'm just looking to get good contact on the ball. Now this type of finish is fantastic because it can fool the keeper, and also it can fool the defender, which makes it more likely that he's not going to block your shot. And in the best case scenario, and I've had this happen and it works so well because it blinds the keeper when you do this and it goes through the defender's legs, because he goes to block you like you're going far post, and which gives you that opening to put it through his legs towards the near post. On this one, you're just looking for good contact, trying to get it to that near post area. Again, I have done a video on this already, so I won't say too much more on it. Just take a look at that video after this one. But this is one of my favorite techniques, and again, being able to hit it towards the far post and near post effectively, consistently, is going to be so important if you want to have better finishing in football. Okay, so now I just want to briefly talk about another finishing technique, which is hitting it across the keeper. We talked about curled finishes, both from close range and from further out. We talked a little bit about near post finishes, and now the other simple technique you want to learn is being able to hit it low and hard towards that far corner, or at least being able to hit it towards that far corner accurately. You don't always have to whack it. In fact, I would encourage you not to, but getting solid contact on that ball towards that far post across the keeper is another really dangerous finish, and one that's very hard for the goalkeeper to do anything about. Again, it is usually ideal to keep the ball low when you do this, because again, you're going to force the keeper to get down to the ground. You know, with any type of finishing, the lower usually the better. Now, if you hit it into the upper corner, that's great. If it's a little higher and it's right in the corner, you still have a great chance of scoring. But like I say to any player, hitting it low and hard is the most difficult thing for a keeper to get down to. Okay guys, so these are the techniques I really recommend you stick with for now. Sure, you can learn how to chip the keeper, sure, you can learn to do a bunch of different things, and I would encourage you to do those things as well. But honestly, I would really focus the main part of your finishing training on these techniques, because in most situations, one of these techniques is what's going to get you the goal. Now, when it comes to practicing all of these techniques, you really need to commit them to muscle memory. What does that mean? It means you've done repetition after repetition after repetition of the right technique, which makes the technique automatic for you. It makes it instinctual because, again, like I said earlier, if you cannot hit the ball instinctually, or you don't have the muscle memory to do it, you know, you're going to be overthinking what you need to do. You're going to take a little too long to shoot, something like that. But if you know how to do it automatically, your body is just going to respond to the situation and do the technique that is needed. All right, guys, that's how to finish better in football. Please let me know what you think of the video. Like it, share it, comment what you think down below. Again, finishing is such an important thing to learn for all of you strikers and all of you goal scorers. And again, just the simple techniques is usually what's going to do it. If you look at some of the best goal scorers in history, you look at players like Klose, you look at players like Raul, you look at some of the great goal scorers, a lot of their goals come from simple curled finishes, simple, you know, drives across the keeper. And yeah, they score other goals as well. But I mean, just look at like a Harry Kane compilation. He doesn't always just blast it from 30 yards to score. A lot of it is he hits it hard and low towards the near post, or he curls it towards the back post, or it's a simple finish. So the better you can get these simple finishes, the better a finisher you will be, and the more goals you'll get. All right, guys, once again, thank you. Take a look at the 2 other videos I put up on screen. I will link some of the videos I mentioned. I will link all of the videos I mentioned down below so that you can become a better finisher. And I will see you in the next video.